At a midweek open house, the hope is to attract a couple with children to this Olympic Village condo. At $1.5 million, though, for many it's hard to qualify without help from family. Realtors hear that every day.
Even a couple that is both working, we hear them talking about their different parents helping out. Very often is a topic that we've been hearing for the last few years.
A report by Vancity suggests that since 2018, the average monthly household income of its members has increased 27%. During the same time, monthly mortgage payments have surged 53%, effectively outpacing income growth.
When I'm doing an intake with a new prospective client, I get to a point in the conversation where I ask, do you have any support from family? And I tell you that I white knuckle through that conversation every time, because if the answer is no, it's going to be substantially harder for them.
Intergenerational wealth has become a key for young would-be owners.
When they come to look at the suite, they will say they'll bring the parents. Obviously, we never ask personal questions, but we feel that part of the down payment perhaps will come from the parents.
It's not just a feeling, it's a reality. The Vancity report indicates over 20% of residential properties owned by people born in the 1990s are co-owned with their parents. It's a growing trend, fueling the significant role between family wealth and accessing home ownership. Average down payments in BC have also gone up to almost $180,000.
Parents these days are quite understanding. As far as we can see, a lot of them thinking instead of leaving inheritance, maybe help them out now. There's a term called living inheritance these days.
For how long, it's hard to say, but right now, relying on family wealth has become a common way to help people own a home. Belle Puri, CBC News, Vancouver.
For more on this report, we want to bring in Joe Reid. He is the Vice President of Wealth Management and Impact Investing with Vancity. Joe, thanks very much for being here.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having me.
So we just heard some of the challenges that facing people, particularly young people, getting into this market. We've known this for a long time, that BC is a hard market, especially with that discrepancy between household income and the cost of a mortgage. How is that gap influencing the market?
You know, it's a really interesting thing when you start to see how big that gap is. When the income has grown in the household income, and it's gone up about 27% since 2018, but when you look at that gap on the mortgage side, it's grown 53%. So it's a large amount that it's gone up. So where that's showing up in the marketplace is it's making it more challenging for young people to get into the market, and they're having to look at different ways to do that.
So obviously a lot of people getting help from families. We heard the bank of mom and dad, that old phrase, in order to secure property, or at least try to do it.
Right.
Are we seeing any other trends, any other ways people are doing that, or trying to?
Yeah, it's interesting. My niece and her husband, they bought a place and they actually rented out the basement. And we're seeing a large number of people that are doing that. In fact, 12% of our members that are in that younger age group are doing that. And that's a great way of being able to get into a place, but it also creates rental stock for people to be able to come in and have a place of their own as well. What
happens though, for example, if I can ask, were they able to do that on their own, or did they need help? No, they were able to do that on their own. They were lucky in that way, but there are a lot of people that are having to look, as you said, the bank of mom and dad. We've looked at it from that inheritocracy point of view, where you're starting to see people have to have multiple generations helping in order to get in. But you know, there are other spots in the world where renting is actually the norm. So it is still a valid way of being able to build some wealth. They just have to do it in a different way. And on that point, we appreciate it. We know a lot of people in BC still rent as well. At what point is there a tipping point where it makes more sense to rent than to own?
I think it comes down to what's important to you. You know, it used to be the gold standard to own a home from the point of view of that was a way to create wealth. But nowadays, when you look at it, there are other ways. And you can save still for retirement. You can still save to help to put your kids through school. You can still save in order to pass on things to the next generation. It's a matter of sitting down with a trusted advisor. And at Vancity, we do that with our members on a daily basis, really helping them on that advice part to help them figure out what's the best way for them.
All right. Joe Reid, we appreciate your time and your expertise. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.